How's everybody doing today? I think I have all
Hey,
my panelists on. Hey, look, I like to start with a little intro music. I always have some music that follow me in my mind or in my heart, but today I'm feeling a little Michael Jackson this a little bit. So I'm gonna go do a little, hey, hey, hey.
Show your face out there.
All right. That's just a little intro. Hey, glad everybody's here to the A&R producer panel. I am the moderator for this panel. Of course, my name is Prince Howard, manager, A&R, Beatroot, music publishing. And today we have some great minds in the music industry as far as A&R production. A couple people I've actually worked with closely, a few people. Some are new to my face and to actually the name, but glad to have you aboard. And thank you so much for taking your time to spread some knowledge to those people who are up and coming in the music industry and trying to find their way and navigate through this thing we call the music business. Of course, I always say it's a music game, but at the end of the day, it's a business as well, and foremost as well. So thank you everybody for being aboard, and I appreciate you letting me moderate this. First of all, I'd like to go through the people we have here. We have DJ Roots Queen here. We have Craig Martin. Also, we have Gia Jai. We have Black Elvis, producer, Jackie Boy, producer, and Mr. Hanky, producer, who actually shared the stage with me last year on the A&R producer panel as well. So I'm glad you all are here. And what we're going to start off first is I want everybody to give me just tell the people just a brief description of who you are and what you do, and just a couple highlights of in your career of what you've done. Of course, I know a number of you and what you've done, but some that have logged in, definitely we want to make sure we highlight that so they know who is on here and the importance of you all's experience and what you've done in the music industry. And let's start with Jackie Boy. We'll start there.
hey, what's going on, everybody? Thank you for having me. Hello to everybody on the panel. Nice to meet everyone. I go by the name Jackie's Boy. I don't know why I said Jackie Boy. I got to fix that. But yeah, I go by the name Jackie's Boy. I'm a singer, songwriter, and also producer as well. I've written for artists such as Madonna, Justin Bieber, Charlie Wilson. I won a Grammy in 2011 for Best Remix Recording for Lil Wayne, Madonna, and David Guetta. Also, I've worked with four-time Grammy nominated and sold over 18 million records in my career.
Excellent. Wow, what a power introduction to start this out. Next, we'll go to DJ Roots Queen. Let's let the people hear from you.
Hey there, DJ Roots Queen. I'm originally from Tampa. I've lived in Atlanta since I was in college, since 2001. I've been DJing since I was a teenager, and I am one of the coalition DJs. I have my own radio show, Rugo Radio, award-winning. And I am also Zaytoven's DJ. I've been with Zaytoven for 5 years, and I do a lot of A&R work and marketing and consulting for Familiar Territory Records. I'm currently a college student. I'm graduating in November with a bachelor's degree in digital marketing. And that's me.
Awesome. DJ Roots Queen in the house, Jackie's Boy. Next, let's go to my bro. We shared some time together in the studio. My brother, Black Elvis. let the people know who you are and go over a little bit of what you've done.
Hey guys, thank you for having me. My name is Black Elvis, producer, songwriter, activist now.
Yes. Brother, I've been following you.
Yeah, trying to get it right, trying to get us right. I've been producing for the last like 20 years. I got 2 Grammys, one for Beyonce, Ego, another one for Usher, Lil Freak. Did Glamorous for Fergie, Promise for Sierra, a whole list of, the list is long. But I'm just happy to be here to share some light, share some knowledge, and, you know, help you guys further your career.
Awesome. Next, let's go and talk to let Gia Jai. Let everybody know who you are. I've had some experience working with you as well, so let the people know who you are.
Hi everybody, I'm Gia Jai. I'm a songwriter, vocal producer, also have a history of dance and theater and arts and pretty much all types of arts. I've been mentored by multi-platinum producers like No ID, Mike Snoddy, Chris Track Rogers, who did Pussycat Dolls, and currently working with a lot of up-and-coming artists. And it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Awesome. Next person, Craig Martin. Let everybody know who you are and where you're from and what your expertise is and highlights in your career. I'd love to hear from you, definitely.
What's going on, Prince Howard? As you said, my name is Craig Martin. I've been behind the scenes in this business for 20 years, doing radio consulting, promoting different records, and working with South Coast Music Group, who presently have one of the hottest artists in the nation right now, in the Baby. You know, I've been, behind the scenes working with him and his development from the get-go. And, we have other artists coming through the pipelines, 2C, Tia Corinne, and just, helping build and, their momentum. So, that's what I do. I'm a native of Charlotte, North Carolina.
Charlotte in the building. I was there for like a year. It's a wonderful, wonderful place, man.
Oh, it's growing. It's growing.
Yeah, definitely. Tar Heel State. Definitely.
Without doubt.
Last but not least, my brother from another, my man, ATL, Mr. Hanky, man. Tell everybody a little bit about you and what you've done, your resume, ATL's finest, you know what I'm saying? Let everybody know what you're doing and what you got going on.
Again, I'm Mr. Hanky, producer, songwriter. I've done records such as California with Colonel Loud, Young Dolph, Luke Nasty on the way, a lot of Yin Yang Twins, Soulja Boy, Jeezy, Gucci. Currently, I just helped out with the 2 Chainz Lil Wayne record that's doing pretty good, and Moneymaker. And I'm happy to be here, man.
Man, thank you all. Thank you all for those illustrious. You all did better introductions, definitely, than I could have done. And I probably would have tripped up and messed up and put somebody's accolades somewhere else. So thank you very much for making an introduction so the people know who you are. I appreciate everything. So to kick this off, one of the things I would like most people and as artists and creatives coming up, there's always a story about how you got to where you're at. And in a short synopsis, I know me personally, I steadily doing the same thing over a period of time, and then people notice behind the scenes business or whatever we were doing in the music industry. So I would like to start off by asking, what and how did you get where you're at right now? What was the process? And then any mentors, because we always have mentors, and just share with the people, how did you get to the point that you're at right now? And anybody can start at this point, but we can first start with Mr. Hanky, since you were last.
My whole journey started off, honestly, my mother is a classically trained pianist, so I literally started playing piano like from day one. Then from there, started playing in the band in high school, became a DJ in college, And from DJ, I figured out, you know, this production thing is kind of where it's at. And after that, one of my main mentors I started working with was Mr. Collie Park. That's how I started working with Yin Yang Twins and Soulja Boy at a young age and doing all of those records. And from then on, it's just been work from then on. So definitely mentors such as yourself, Arlinda, other people. You know, Arlinda worked the California record for us. So just keeping those people in the circle definitely help, you know, keep everything going.
Oh man, that's dope. That's dope. DJ Roots Queen, share a little bit of how you got started and how you matriculated to the point to where you're at.
Okay, there's a few key points. So I started DJing when I was 17. My dad was tragically killed in a car accident, and that was like the only thing that kept me happy, just being around friends. It was the 90s, so there was like raves and stuff going on. So I started with EDM. I moved on when I moved to Atlanta and started going to MJQ and the Mark and everything like that. And that was when I started spinning hip hop and reggae and all the things that I liked before I got into EDM again. And I linked up with Dinko D from Leaders of the New School, went on tour with him, you know, did some stuff here or there, had a baby. After I had a baby, I wanted to get back into it. And actually, Amir Boyd is in this story. Princess Cut and Joy, they asked me to do a panel at, where was it at? It was at the bowling alley on Metropolitan. And I hit up Amir Boyd on Twitter because Twitter was popping. And I was like, hey, Amir, I know you don't know me, but this is when he was with Grand Hustle. I was like, would you like to come do this panel with me? And Cypher from the Cypher 360 show was on the panel. And he said, yeah, and he did it. So then I linked him up with the owner of the studio, and they did Young Thug's first listening party there. So they kind of like told me years later that that's what I ended up having a part of. And then that was how I met Coast to Coast DJs and everything, and all of the people that started hiring me to do all of these showcases and stuff. So basically it wasn't about me. Of course I wanted to be in the clubs and do, you know, DJ gigs, but what I did is I received God's blessing of who he wanted me to work with. And that was how I ended up doing artist showcases and working with a lot of artists and stuff like that. So that's kind of how that started moving forward. Then I started working for Drummer Boy, got into the strip club industry, started my radio show, and just really made my focus be about the artists and not just me. And that was how like more and more gigs came. And I just ended up learning more and more about the music business was like that. So.
Right. Wow. Amazing. Amazing. Definitely Journey's had some type of musical star. So that's, I can see the parallel in terms of everybody's journey. There's somebody that was playing some music or something as far as the actual creative part. So that's dope. Definitely.
Oh, and my mentor, just last thing, my mentor is Roland Williams, and he's the head A&R at Familiar Territory Records. That's my mentor.
Awesome. And mentors, definitely mentors. Somebody you can talk to help you guide or whisper something in your ear when they see you going the wrong way is important, definitely. So the next person I want to hear from is Gia Jai. Let's see how you got started and what steps you take and who mentored you, and let's see what the people need to hear from you. You're on mute, I think.
Yeah, unmute yourself.
Okay. Thank you. So I started off as an artist at a very young age. I knew I wanted to be a superstar. I was the kid that the parents, you know, woke you up in the middle of the night, had you performing for everybody in the family. My father played the drums and the saxophone. My grandfather was in a band until he passed, which he recently passed in the last 2 years. But he is classically trained in piano. He played the drums as well as the saxophone. I was in band, so I've always been in music. I'm originally from Dayton, Ohio, so I moved from Ohio to England, and that really expanded my palette, if you will, as far as arts, because it's so different over there. So I got a lot of experience with arts and music overseas. Moved back to the States. Always attended performing arts school, so I was in choir, band, I played handbell, saxophone, I was an Alvin and Ailey dancer, and then I moved to Virginia Beach, where, as you guys know, a lot of great talent comes from the Hampton Roads area, and I was rapping at the time, And my mother, I had convinced her to take me to a studio. So she took me to the studio and I rapped for this guy and he's like, well, she's great, but you know, I don't know what to do with her. And he told my mom that it would be like 30 or 40 an hour at the time to record me. And from then it was over. So I kind of like put it on the back burner as far as like pursuing a career, but I continued to write, and in the back of my mind, it was something I always wanted to do. So fast forward, I moved to Atlanta in like 2004. And the first person I met when I moved here, which is one of my mentors, was Craig King. He was mentored by Quincy Jones, and he's the current CEO of the Rap Plug. So I met him like backstage at a Kanye event, and he gave me his number. And I don't know, you know, like DJ Roots Queen said, it was just a God thing, because I wasn't even thinking about, you know, pursuing it at the time. And he and I started talking. I told him about my background, and immediately he took me under his wing, had me listening to songs, critiquing songs, taking me to Patchwork, and just really working with me. Shortly after that, I met Anthony Truss, who at the time was like the VP of Sony's marketing for like 15 or 20 years before they closed the branch down in Atlanta. So immediately then he took me under his wing and helped me with my demo, told me, you know, what type of records I needed to have, you know, that gave me the shortest distance from A to B versus, you know, being out here, being an independent artist and running all around and doing a bunch of stuff that you think you're supposed to be doing when your energy should be directed into other directions. Then from there, he linked me with a lot of different people. I started writing for other artists because at the time, they weren't signing any female rappers. They weren't touching any female rappers. So he came to me and said, well, you know, maybe you should take this other approach like Missy did, like Carrie, you know, did, where you write for other people first, and then you come out with your own stuff later. And then around that same time, I don't know if, I'm sure you guys know DJ Swamp Izzo. He also took me under his wing, and he used to take me, you know, have me meet him at the club. He would play my records at the club. He would help, you know, walk down the street with me and hand my CD out. And at the time, my daughter was probably, you know, like around 6. And as you guys know on the panel, that back then, that digital thing, that wasn't it. You had to be out in the clubs. You had to be performing. You had to be in the streets. And I had to make a choice between, you know, being there for my daughter and putting my family first, or music. And so I chose my family. So from that point, I just started, you know, writing and helping artists with their material. Another one of my major mentors was Natina Reed from the multi-platinum group Black. She and I were in a writing group together called The Craft. So when she took me under her wing, that really helped my songwriting to evolve more into like pop and more mainstream records. It really helped me to diversify, and, you know, and like I said, just make more top 40, top 100 records. And then from there, I don't know, everything, it just kind of snowballed. And I met No ID. He started, you know, telling me, giving me pointers and, you know, helping me out, giving me game. I don't know, and that's how I got here. I mean, I could go on and on because you know how it goes, but
Definitely.
That's the gist of it. Yeah.
Definitely. Great journey, great journey. Next, I'd like to hear from Craig Martin. Let's hear how you got to where you're at.
Well, like you know, other people on this panel, you know, I have a musical background. I started out playing various instruments as a kid, you know, and that garnered me different music scholarships to different schools and things like that, which I took. And, you know, of course, I stayed here at home in Charlotte and graduated from John C. Smith University. And while I was at John C. Smith University, that's where I met the guy who's still my mentor to this day, Arnold Taylor. And I've been working with him for the past 20 years, you know, working records behind the scenes. And now with the, you know, advent of South Coast Music Group now, you know, developing, you know, new talent, you know, to come out of the Carolinas. Because, you know, this is an area for the longest that people will gloss over and look over. And now, right. You know, like I said, you know, have one of the hottest artists in the game now, and there's more people to come. So just being a part of this breaking that glass ceiling here in the Carolinas, that means a lot. Because again, this is an area that always people will look over. They will come here, get their money, and get the hell out of here, you know what I'm
Right.
saying, but not giving back to nobody here, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, like I said, it was important to be here in the Carolinas, and we're still based here in the Carolinas and breaking artists from the Carolinas. So that's just a brief synopsis of me.
Definitely.
But there's a lot of people that helped me along the way and gave me game. A lot. But Arnold Taylor, that's my mentor. That's my brother.
Awesome. And to that point, definitely staying in a place that's home and giving valuable information to those up and comers is very important. Dope. Very dope, Craig. Definitely. Let's hear from Black Elvis. Let's let the people know, you know, how you got where you at. And this guy can play the piano for real. I done seen him play. So I know somebody was classically trained. So go ahead, Black, and tell them how you got to where you at.
That's crazy. Let me see if I can do this the short version. So
Yeah, short version. I know it's a long version. We all got a long one.
This process and journey is crazy, but I'm super blessed. And I started out playing the piano, organ, drums in church, you know, when I was 12 years old. And then I kind of started growing up and, you know, making beats in the hood for, you know, little dope dealers and stuff like that. And then in Memphis, I bought me a studio and started producing for it. We had some local groups, you know, like Skinny Pimp. I don't know if y'all are familiar with Skinny Pimp, and like Rap Hustlers. And then I did an album with Coops, a nigga from 3 6 Mafia. I did a whole album on the Barcades. And then I started realizing, like, yo, I can't survive in Memphis. So I wound up leaving Memphis. I think you doing business in Memphis right now, right, friend? Yeah. It's good though. You know, we gonna put Memphis back on the map in the real way.
Yes, sir.
And then I moved to Atlanta. So what was crazy was my first 2 days in Atlanta was crazy. My homeboy was at Patchwork mixing an album, and Leslie Brathworth was mixing his album. And I don't know if y'all know who Leslie is, but Leslie is like one of the biggest engineers, one of the OGs of all time. So I walk in the studio and he's mixing. And he's like, yo, you know, what do you do? I was like, well, you know, I play the organ, I produce a little bit. He's like, all right, cool. Can you be here tomorrow at 4:00? I said, yeah, shit, like, okay. I didn't ask no questions. I just showed up at the studio. Walked in the studio the next day, Manny Fresh and Juvenile sitting in the studio. And I'm like, oh, this is retarded right here. Like, I got to make sure. Like I've never seen nothing like this before in my life, right? So I was like, all right, cool. I go back to Memphis, right? I pack up my whole studio, move to Atlanta, on fake, homeless, don't have nowhere to stay, don't really know nobody, right? So I come to Atlanta and I meet this guy named DJ Rogers Jr. I don't know if y'all familiar with DJ Rogers, the senior. He just passed away. So his son didn't know me from a can of paint, gave me a place to stay for 6 months because I played and I grew up Church of God in Christ. You know what I mean? Just crazy, like crazy favor on my life.
I hear you, bro.
And so after that, you know, I started, you know, just playing, doing what I do. And they introduced me to Polo. At this time, Polo the Don, he had just kind of got into producing. He had just left Jim Crow. I think he may have done some things. And so I went back to Patchwork one night. He was in there, and he was like, yo, you want to go to LA tomorrow? I was like, all right, cool. Again, I ain't asked no questions, right? So, I go home.
The ones that don't ask questions, the ones that get it.
When opportunity comes, when you're trying to get it, you don't ask no question. You just say yes, all right? And understand that your steps are being ordered. I was going to school to be a gynecologist. This has nothing. I didn't even know I was going to be a producer, right? I was in a whole nother world.
You definitely was in a whole nother place.
Crazy. So I go to LA the next day. The record we do was London Bridge for Fergie. Crazy. The second record we do was Glamorous. Then we started just doing stuff. And this was like 2003. And by the time 2005, 2006 came, all the records we have been working on for like the last 2 or 3 years just started snowballing. You know, Glamorous, Promise, Kelly Rowland, Like This, London Bridges, like just everything, record after record after record. And it was just like my life changed overnight. So I did my deal with Big John signed me over at EMI. That was my first publishing deal. So that was crazy. And then I went on a whole nother run. So just song deal after song deal with all the major labels, you know. And then I met Harold Lilly in like 2008, 2009. Then we went on a whole nother run. We did Ego for Beyonce and LaToya, like just records galore. So, you know, my process been crazy. My life been crazy. You know, I've been super blessed, and you know, I just been, you know, staying persistent. And now I'm an activist, I think.
Hey, actually, I like the activist side too.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, because I'm always seeing you smiling. So when I see you, and you do your lives, and you like, look here, I need y'all to focus on voting. I need y'all to get to the polls. I'm like, okay, I can get it. I dig it. I dig it, and I love it. You know, and so definitely big ups to that journey. Definitely blessed. Jackie's boy, let's hear from you, man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I started out humble beginning from Savannah, Georgia. I actually got into the music business by street performing. I was a street performer down in Savannah, and then basically, you know, did my thing on the weekends. And my parents passed away in 2003 and in 2004. So I wanted to try something completely different. Didn't want to be in a place where people knew who I was. Just wanted to kind of, you know, create my own new identity. So I came out to LA and did the same kind of thing of street performing. So I did 3rd Street Promenade. I did Santa Monica Pier, Hollywood and Highland. This is starting in around 2004. And then I did it for 5 years. So I went all the way to 2009, just singing on the street and kind of, you know, putting myself out there. And I ended up meeting some great people in my Mr. Me street performing. And one particular cat by the name of Brandon Kitchen ended up stopping me and just saying, hey, man, like, you know, your voice is amazing. Like, do you write as well? And I said, yeah, I write too. And then that ended up turning into a meeting at Atlantic Records. I ended up playing some demos and stuff that I had written and some songs that I put together. And the A&R at the time loved the music, but was kind of still on the fence because, you know, I'm coming off the street. I have no ties, no big fancy names to kind of get me in the door. But he basically said, all right, cool. I'll give you 40 minutes to kind of come up with something for an artist by the name of Flo Rida. So my first record that I ended up placing and getting recorded was this song. I ended up doing it. I freestyled it. It took me like 30 minutes because I was really about trying to make sure that I had the opportunity and was ready when I was presented, you know, with it. So I did that, and it basically changed my life. The song went number 5 on the Hot 100, sold like 2 million copies, and everything just kind of followed from there. So it basically set the trajectory of where my life would go. Had many mentors, a cat by the name of Mickey Stevenson. He was the first A&R from Motown. I learned really about song structure and just, you know, having long-lasting songs and concepts and melodies and all of those great things to really make sure that when you come out, you know, you can stand the test of the time with music and writing and putting songs together. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Dope. Awesome, man. Awesome. I do hear a similarity in all of the backgrounds and how you all got started. Is one thing that's in common is that you all followed what was the voice that was there that led you to wherever you were at to propel you to the next level. And so, you know, for our people that's definitely listening and that's on here and looking, definitely following your heart and your mind is definitely very important in getting to the next level, especially in music, because you're gonna have some obstacles, which leads me into the next question. And I think I hear some of that in the actual how you got to where you at. And briefly tell everybody like what and this time whoever wants to go first, what were the obstacles, or what was one obstacle or two obstacles that you encountered while trying to get where you are right now? Because we all have them. I mean, I'm sure that you all have had them and things that came up and stopped you. But what were the obstacles, or briefly explain what those obstacles were? Anybody can go.
Any of us chime in?
Yeah.
Well, I'll chime in first. I would say the main obstacle as far as with me is just getting people to believe in the area where I'm from.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, a lot of people from my area, the Carolinas, you know, feel like they have to move this place or go to Atlanta, go to New York, go to LA, you you know, just being a part of doing what I'm doing, and I'm still here. I've never moved.
Right.
I've been in Charlotte, North Carolina. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you know, that's just a testament to go that if you stay down, you stay consistent in what you're doing. You know what I mean? And it's going to be monotonous at times. You know, you're going to get discouraged. There's going to be times like that, but you got to continue to persevere. And you know, just that consistency has gotten, you know, the company I'm with, South Coast Music Group, to the point where we at now. And you know, like I said, we never, you know, wavered. We stayed right here, and we're doing the things that we're doing based out of right here, the Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina. So that would be the obstacle that I face, just being where I'm from. You know what I mean? Just people looking down upon it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Definitely. Well, that's awesome because you overcame it. Because y'all got one of the hottest rappers in the game. So you definitely overcame that. So anybody else want to chime in?
I would probably say, you know, life can sometimes just be, everyday life can be an obstacle, right? You know, you got bills to pay, you got stuff you have to handle, you got family life, you got all of these different things. And I think for me starting out, you know, wondering where my next meal was going to come from. Cause you know, every time when you out street performing, you don't know exactly how much you're going to make. You know, it's everything's basically off commission, right? So you know, when you get to the next phase of your life, you wonder, will that end? You know, will that, you know, ultimately stop? Will people stop calling? Will songs start making, you know, stop, you know, writing what you can deem successful? So I think for me, you know, everyday life can sometimes be an obstacle. And for me, what kept me staying focused on what I needed to do was belief in myself, belief in God, and trusting in the process of where it was going to take me.
Awesome.
I'll go ahead and go next. For me, especially being a female DJ and being a hip hop DJ, it was definitely being a woman, being the only white woman, being the only white face at all of these conferences and stuff that I was invited to. I was kind of like picked and like chosen, you know, I didn't sign up or, you know, try to like go like, hey, I want to be a part of this. Everybody was like, hey, we want you to come out. I guess because I was in Atlanta, that was just kind of like how things are, you know, if you're in the hip hop game. But really, I could say that it started as an obstacle being a woman, but it really ended up being the thing that helped me get ahead, because it helped me help other women get ahead and get noticed and things like that, you know. And I guess that's the biggest thing, especially like Gia and everybody will tell you, like that was when Molly asked me to be on Earth Girl last November, and all of these young women were telling me, all these young DJs were telling me how much I helped them, you know, have the confidence to get up there and know that they could do it. And they probably had an easier time with me than I did, because when they go in there, you know, they're not different. You know what I'm saying? In this space, you know what I mean? So I guess just with the way that everything was flipped like that, it was definitely difficult, and can still sometimes be uncomfortable. But I just, you know, just try to be open-minded and hope everybody else is open-minded with it. And that's my story. So.
Oh.
All right.
Amazing.
I guess I go next. I mean, I speak from a little different place, mindset, I guess. For me, I didn't really have any obstacles other than, I mean, I had struggles, you know, the typical, you know, making sure I could eat and, you know, this and that. But for me, that was the process. I really didn't look at it as an obstacle. It was you know, I did what I had to do. You know what I mean? And I made the necessary sacrifices to do it, even from my family, like not really being all the way tuned in, you know, with my kids, because I understood that if I didn't make it in music, that it wasn't going to be no life for them. You know what I mean? Not the life that I wanted for them anyway. Right. But as far as an obstacle, I would honestly say my biggest obstacle would be getting other people or the artists that I've invested so much money into over the years and just really believing in themselves, you know. And I think that's a big issue that we've been seeing like for years and years and years over the last, you know, 10 to 15 years. Like I know I've spent, you know, almost millions of dollars on artists trying to get them to the next level, but it's always that thing that they're missing that belief system. They're missing that process because they don't understand that, hey, it's not my career, it's your career. You know what I mean? Like, I can't get you to the next level. I can't make somebody believe in your talent. I can only build a foundation for you and walk you in the door. The rest is up to you.
And I think I can definitely agree with Black Elvis. Some of my biggest records have come from artists that didn't believe that they could pull it off, and it ended up going to a whole nother artist. So no real horror stories, but just getting artists to believe in themselves that this can work for them. And they don't believe it. Like Living My Best Life was a record I gave to about, at least about 4 or 5 different artists. And they didn't believe it till the shit was #1. They was like, oh, that is the same song. So I think
Right.
It's a thing.
Right. Definitely. Gia?
I would have to say, mirroring what DJ Roots Queen said, being a female definitely was an obstacle, because initially, especially rapping in a male-dominated genre and industry overall, people tend to not take you seriously. So I found, you have to get over the initial, people want to, deal with you on a personal level. But then when I would play my music, people would get really serious. Another obstacle was studio. So like if you're a new artist, or you don't know how to record yourself, you're going in the studio. And for me, just my experience was, I'm going into the studio, and then, they want to smoke 5 blunts before they record me. So then when I figured out, oh, wait a minute, all I got to do is get my own stuff. So I went and bought my own studio. So I've been recording since 2007. But what that did for me was that gave me a whole new skill set of production. So a lot of things that were initially obstacles turned out to be things that were significant in my evolution and development, and made me a better artist, made me, a better producer, and it gave me a better ear. It just really honed in my, my skill set. So I would say, in addition to that, videos and stuff. So I would say that money for most new artists is an obstacle, because this is not a cheap industry to be in. So it, just like producing, it also helped me to learn other skills such as Adobe Premiere, Final Cut. When you don't have the money to make all of these things, to produce all these things by paying other people, it forces you, depending on how bad you want it, to learn other skill sets to get your stuff out there. So I would say money, life, as he mentioned earlier, as well as sometimes being a woman can hinder you. But just like DJ Roots Queen said, it actually turned out to be a blessing, because when you're good and you're a woman, people are less intimidated and they'll put you in positions. Whereas with men, sometimes, if you're a guy and you're good, they may not put you in position. So I found myself being put in a lot of really awesome positions because I was a woman and people believed in me and thought that I was talented.
Dope. Well, definitely these obstacles are definitely, or what we see as things of molehills and different things that we may go through to get to where we at. Definitely the end result is that you're sitting here on this panel, and that's a testament to the persistence in your careers, you know what I'm saying, as well as myself. So I think that's definitely to commend it, and for the people that are listening to know that what they're doing, if they're doing it the right way and they're consistent and being consistent, that they can continue. And if they continue, they can get better and better and find mentors, and then be able to do what we're doing right now. And so I'm sure there's going to be some people that come up to us years from now and say, remember, on that panel, I was that guy that was listening to you all. So that's definitely good that we're sitting here giving this information to them, because that's real. And this is real life stuff that we all have gone through. So I definitely appreciate all of the answers on that. Now I want to move to something that's kind of definitely to the people, more a question that would definitely lend to people who want to be artists, be songwriters, be producers, what things would you suggest or steps that you would take or advise our participants on how they can move into the position that we're at right now? And then the items will have an end. Like, so how I got to be an A&R publishing. I was a business manager. Then I went and I started, of course, business manager, you're looking at publishing. So then I was interested in it. And then a company and somebody asked me to be a partner. I became a partner. I did 30 deals, and then I came to where I'm at. So there was some steps that I took. What are your steps based upon where you're at, either producer, writer, A&R, the steps that the listeners or participants would need to take to get to a position where you're at right now? And I guess I would start with Craig as an A&R, considering I'm a public music publishing A&R and signing people and producers and songwriters. And you're doing artists, I want you to start off and give the people something, because this is a behind the scene thing, which is most people don't see us, but we're important, but we're the ones that kind of make careers and push them along. Go ahead, Craig.
I would say is, what we touched on throughout this whole panel, just find that person that, that you can learn from, like an apprenticeship, you know what I mean? Mentors are very important in giving that knowledge and that game, you know what I mean? And it's good to shadow people and learn from their successes as well as their mistakes, you know what I'm saying, as far as in this game. And utilize that knowledge, to mold, into what you want to be, as far as in your career wise. So to me, just learning, as you go, not thinking that I know it all and I read a few books or whatever hell else. I mean, just like the old saying goes, experience is the best teacher. You know what I mean? So just learn from people, you know what I mean? Get in the field, pay your dues, you know what I mean? And when it's your time to shine, step on out there and make it count. So that would be my advice to anybody that's watching us right now. You know what I mean? Shadow people, learn from them, you know what I mean? Pay your dues and trust me, if God see fit for it to happen for you, it's gonna happen. Ain't nothing nobody can do to stop that.
Definitely. Who wants to go next? I'm gonna make this open. I wanted to hit the A&R part, but definitely we can go to a producer now. Anybody that's producing, one of the producers, definitely.
For me, I would tell people, like, what I did was just a common sense approach. I think it should be for everybody. Like, find somebody that you see is actually winning. Because like, yeah, we live in this world, like, anybody gets online to say anything, they get on. They got it's it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? So and you would be surprised, like, the information people get. They be like, yeah, so-and-so told me, it's supposed to go like this, and I can sell my beats for $25, and that's the way to go. And I just like, all right, man, if that's what you want to do, go ahead. But if you want to get to that level of somebody that you admire, go to that person. You'll be surprised, like, how much people like to talk about themselves. Just ask them how they got to where they got to, and they'll open up, like their granddad or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So just, it's a common sense. Like, don't take advice from people who haven't done or been where you're trying to go. It doesn't make sense.
Right.
It's a million, internet, social media, music industry execs that don't have a hit to their name, and it's crazy. People buy into it, and I don't get it. But that's me.
Okay, never close the deal. Okay, so I have some advice. I saw some questions too from people asking about how to find mentors, and the best way to do that is you have to remember that the music industry is about sales. If you're a producer, for example, the people that I addressed, like for me, for example, I worked with producers like Drummer Boy, Zaytoven, all types of people like that. And how I got in and how I started you know, getting mentored by, you know, Roland Williams or, you know, people from Coalition like Xavier or everything like that is selling. You know what, if you sell a beat for somebody, let's say, oh, hey, Mr. Hanky, how much do you sell your beats for? Hey, guess what? I got this artist, they want to buy a beat from you. And you broker a deal like that and you make some little bit of money off the top. You make some money for somebody and they're going to be like very willing to answer any question that you've got. And you have to be smart about it too. You know, you have to remember that this is literally all about sales. You got to figure out what you can sell. You can sell consulting packages for people. You can get on the team with somebody and figure out exactly what services that they have to sell, whether it's marketing, PR, beats, anything like that. That's what you have to remember, is that all labels are all about sales. So if you can sell and figure out how to close deals, anybody under the sun will literally mentor you. So I'm sure everybody agrees.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think from a producer standpoint, honestly, what I'm seeing going on now in the industry, you know, if you're a young and up and coming producer, I would find, you know, the hot artist in the neighborhood or the next hottest artist that you can actually reach and touch, you know what I mean? And grow with that person and build a sound. Because what's important is that the people, like consumers and artists, they love a sound. And if you got a different sound and you want the world to hear it, then you need a vehicle. So like, honestly, if you find that perfect vehicle, I mean, it could be your homeboy, it could be, but somebody, make sure it's somebody you believe in. You know what I mean? If you're going to be producing beats and, you know, going to the studio, because a lot of times it takes the producer to invest into the artist. Because most of us have the studios. Most of us is, you know, we have the engineers, the writers, the whole thing. A lot of time artists come and they just got talent. So they don't see the behind the scenes, the infrastructure that it takes to actually produce the music, write the music, get it mixed, get it mastered. So if you are a producer and you have some resources, even if you have none, you know, associate yourself with an artist that you believe in and just give them beats. You know what I mean? Especially if you're trying to get your sound out there and you know, make it grow. Because you can't just get, you know, the baby on the phone. You know what I mean? Everybody don't know Craig. You know, I just met Craig. You know what I'm saying? You can't get Mr. Hanky on the phone. You can't get Prince on the phone. So, you know, how do people like us find out about you? It's by putting content out, using a vehicle, using the artist that's moving around in the streets. Because one thing for sure, like if you like an artist, if it's the right artist, they gonna get in those doors and they gonna promote their music. And when somebody be like, "Yo, who did that beat?" That's the first thing I ask every single time somebody play me something.
Yep.
Who produced that?
Right.
Yep.
I'm always looking. You know what I mean? So that's probably the quickest and, you know, smartest way to kind of get your feet in the door.
Definitely.
That was a great answer. Everybody had great answers, and I would just add to that as well, because I agree with this so much. Exposure is key, right? The more you're out there, and I'm gonna date myself. So when I was out street performing, basically after my 4-hour or 6-hour day of, you know, singing, I would go back to the crib, hop on the computer, go to MySpace, and basically hit people up on MySpace from about 6 or 7 o'clock all the way to about 10 o'clock at night, just saying, hey, new R&B singer, songwriter, producer would love to play you some music. And you'd be surprised how many people responded that I thought they wouldn't. And that really kind of put me in a situation to go, okay, well, the name of this game is really just putting yourself out there. I remember, you know, at the Beverly Center on weekends, basically I would take a bunch of my music and just run up on people, sing for them, give them a CD. I would sing for Pharrell. I mean, Suge Knight. I built relationships to where it came to a point that when I did get on, people was like, "Oh man, you the same cat that was out singing it and or sold me a CD." I'm like, "Yeah, that's me." So it almost became like a proud, like, "Yo, you actually did it. Like you said you were going to do it, and it's coming true." So, right. And the respect came from that. So I think that the more, you know, I think you have to be fearless with this. I think that you have to assert yourself and put yourself in certain situations. Like, for instance, you know, Record Plant in LA and Westlake in LA, there's studios that certain people go to all the time. And sometimes you may be able to catch somebody coming out of a session that you just strike a conversation with. And you never know where that can go. And it may not work that one time, but if you have something that's worth showing, or that could at least make them remember you, they'll go, "Oh man, you the cat that I met, you know, out of the studio that one time." It's all about persistence, and I think that fearlessness that goes into it that allows you to really take it by storm.
Right. Definitely.
And to add to that, everybody had great feedback. For artists and songwriters, perfect your craft. I would say, look, there are things that I used to do. I used to study the Billboard. I still study the Billboard to this day. Look for patterns. Look for songwriters or artists that you feel like you're the closest to. Don't copy them, but take a look. Like I will go back 20 years and look and see what were the top 100 records on the Billboard and find the pattern with those records and employ some of those stylistic devices and things that they use to make those records big records. So I would definitely say study your craft. Your performance is key. You have iPhones now. Back in the day, I used to have to, I'm dating myself, get like a real camera, put it on a tripod and record myself doing my show 50 million thousand times. And I would play it back and literally be anal about every detail of my performance. You have iPhones now. It's so easy. Set the iPhone up, perform your songs, be very anal about your performance. Another thing I would say that I learned from Ant, I told you he was the marketing VP, is he always told me, you can't fall in the middle. You have to be one extreme or the other, because if you're in the middle, you get lost in the sauce. So I would say to brand yourself in a way where you're remembered. Like there was a time where I wore nothing but corsets. So when people saw me, they knew, oh, that's Gia Jai, because she always wears corsets. Now back in the day, they did red hair. Now that's more common. Colorful hair is becoming more common. But find something that makes you stand out and do it consistently so that when they see you, they know it's you. Or if they hear a certain riff in your music, they recognize you. That's what I would add to that.
Man, wow. Amazing answers to, for our people who are a part of this conference to really gain some knowledge from, definitely on how to get to where you want to be, specifically as a producer, A&R, DJ, songwriter. They've given some great answers on steps with the end goal. So, a lot of times information is given out, but there's no end goal to it. So I appreciate our panelists for giving definitely some specific information, valuable nuggets. These are nuggets for them to take away and incorporate in what they're doing. We have probably like 3 minutes before we open up the floor to questions. And we'll probably take 2 or 3 questions, but very briefly, I want the panelists to answer this question. Where do you see the state of music? And 30 seconds, 45 seconds, if you can do it, a minute, of where the music industry is in the COVID environment, and where do you think it'll go post-COVID? And kind of just give me some thoughts, and they don't have to be dead on, because we're in an industry that's ever changing, and COVID changed the music game totally. Here we are on a virtual music conference. So we see where it has changed. So I want to see what you all think, and briefly, and let the people know where you see music going and the music business going. Anybody can go first.
Oh, well, I'll just say that I think that some of the best music is going to come out during this time. I feel like our listeners are now accepting that, there's more going on in the world. So I feel like, listeners are going to hear more. I notice you'll hear a lot more socially conscious music now. Some of the artists who you thought would never do something that's on that tip, but is now doing things like that. So I think that, in a year or 2 years, we'll still have this COVID kind of, cloud that has produced great songs, great melodies, great concepts, and out of the box ideas. I think in the tech world, it's going to be, it's already advancing so fast. So I think that music is only going to thwart that and just allow people to see things for what they are, because, the real world is happening all around us. And we, yes, people use music to release and to get away, but at the same time that you want to kind of have your songs affect what's going on at the moment. So I think it's a good time for music.
Oh, awesome.
I'll go ahead and go. I think I'm going to agree with Jackie Boy all the way that it is a great time for music, because now, for example, right now I'm touring an artist through 10 different states with the Coalition DJs, with all of their chapters, just doing Zoom calls. I was on a conference yesterday with Tokyo's Revenge for a live PR conference. So think about all the stress and the time that and money that we're not having to spend just by opening up our computers and being able to log on and like see everybody. And I think that that's going to be a trend, because now when I offer my interviews for my radio show, I'm like, hey, do you want to do virtual? Would you like to pull up and be in the studio? And a lot of people will be right here in the city and we'll do it virtually. You could, somebody can get on the line from Jamaica, somebody could get on the line from the UK, like all that extra stuff. It doesn't need to happen anymore. It just cuts out so much money, like I said, money and time and resources. It makes everything a lot more convenient, just being able to tap in virtually.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I agree too. I think we're going to see more creative artists, creative ways of marketing to the world, because now you're not having to do shows and market shows in a specific region. Now you got the world at your fingertips. You know what I mean? It's the internet. So, you know, instead of you doing a show in Atlanta, now you can do a show for the world. You get what I'm saying? Especially through virtual, you know, live streaming and things like that. So I think the money is definitely going to go up. I'm definitely putting my money into virtual technology right now. You know, I don't think we're going back to touring no time soon, not real tours, not like the 20, 30,000 seaters. So that's where I'm kind of focusing my energy right now, and making sure that we have quality, you know, virtual concerts being brought to the people.
Awesome.
Well, I mean, I feel like all three of the other panelists pretty much summed up, I feel like what all of us are saying. That you know, the world we live in now, man, you know, it's forced us. This whole COVID-19 thing has forced us to, you know, adapt to different technologies that we never used before. I mean, just like you said, you know, I never used Zoom before this year. I never used Zoom before this year.
Me either.
I had the app downloaded on my phone for like 2 years, man. But I never had a Zoom conference call. Definitely not a Zoom, you know, whole, you know, what we're doing right now. You know what I mean? So it's forced all of us to do things that we never done before and step into the 21st century for those of us that were still dinosaurs and you know, just doing what we're doing. You know what I mean? So, you know, life as we know it will never be the same again. Some things will return back, but some things will never be the same again. And I feel like the music business as a whole is in a good place. You know, whatever you want out here as far as you know, as far as a listener, you can find right now. If you want socially conscious music, you can find it. If you want that ratchet shit, you can find that everywhere. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And also, you know, the international scene, man. You know, I've never seen in all my years, and I think I'm probably the oldest panelist on here. You know what I'm saying? Even though I mean I look it, you know, I'm 43 years old. And, you know, just to see how the international music has come into play. You know, all the Afro beats and things like that. You know what I mean? So you know, it's something I have for everybody right now, and I just feel like, again, music is in a really good place. Wherever you want right now, you can find it. You know what I mean? It's no excuse right now. You know what I mean? For anybody to not get on and do whatever they want to do, it's no excuse right now. I mean, you know, everything is at your fingertips now.
Gotcha. True.
I think the thing I see happening.
I think you're on mute, Mr. Hanky.
My bad. Okay, talking to myself. The thing I see that is dope. That's kind of was happening before, but it's really happening is like I don't think it's gonna be any genres of music, a specific sound. Even with the verses, I think that was profound because I think you're gonna see a lot of age limitations lifted because you have a whole new generation. A lot of these kids, that's their first time listening to Patty or Timberland or you name it. And they're like, oh, this shit is dope. Like, they really freaking out. You know what I'm saying? So I think you're going to see especially on the hip hop side of things, I think you're going to see a lot of older artists be accepted to where, you know, you might see 40, 50-year-old rappers still relevant. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because COVID literally broke every rule known to man. You know what I'm saying? So it's not going to be uncommon to see Jay-Z and Patty and Lil Baby on a song by the time this is over. It can happen.
Wow. Ace. Awesome. But definitely, anybody else? I think we got everybody's opinion on that. So now I'm going to open it up for a couple of questions from our people who are out that are involved in the conference. I have a few. I think I have a couple here in my Q&A. If some more want to load up, definitely please do. I think one of our questions, how do you all suggest one finds a mentor if I don't have any connections in the industry? From Nico Verdu. What do you all think about that? Can somebody chime in on that?
I would say that I just feel like, you know, that person just need to just continue to, you know, reach out to people. I mean, it's more easy now than it was when I first got in the game 20 years ago to find somebody to mentor you than it was, you know, than it is now because of technology. I mean, you can slide in that person's DM, you can slide in that person's inbox, you know what I mean? Send them a message. I mean, and a lot of times people respond, you know what I mean?
Right.
You don't have to physically, you know, be, you know, with the person anymore like you used to, you know what I mean? Or run up on a person. You can just hit them from a social media standpoint and start to develop that, you know, you know, that connection. And for me, you know, when people hop in my DMs and things like that, I reply, you know, for the most part, you know what I mean? If it's a general question, because I'm here as a vessel to share whatever knowledge I got, you know what I mean? Because somebody shared it with me, you know, and I want, you know, to pass it on. It's no good if it stays with me.
Right.
So whatever I got, you know, anybody that's out here looking at us right now, as far as this panel, reach out to me. I have no problem sharing any kind of knowledge that I have on this music game.
Awesome. Awesome.
That I'll say, do what a lot of all of my mentors actually came from me doing what I do. So I would say, continue to do what you do, perfect your craft, because when you're doing great things, people are going to want to help you. So when you play your music and they, you know, they hear that there's something to really work with and that you're taking it really seriously, people will want to help you. So I would say if you don't have anybody that you know of, you know, you don't have any contacts, just continue to do what you're doing and people will gravitate towards you.
Or maybe just offer to pay somebody for real.
Oh, yeah, consulting. I was going to say that. Consulting, but also remember that, think about what you can do for someone else instead of just asking people what they can do for you all the time, if that makes sense. Like, for example, the people that I'm really more open to mentor are the people that come and volunteer or perform, you know, for Zay Area Day, for example. You know, when we have volunteer opportunities, that's a good way to find a mentor is, you know, pull up, you know, pass out some plates with somebody, you know, when they do these industry things and they're looking for, you know, volunteers to help give back and stuff, because they do that all the time in Atlanta and anywhere, radio stations, anything. That's a really great way to find a mentor, is figure out what you can do for other people.
And I think that those are great. And I think I would also add, when you send somebody a DM, don't just say, hey, or what's up? Because that's the first way I will not respond. So if you got a short, simple, you know, little story about yourself, because, you know, as he said, you know, you attach yourselves to people's, you know, lives because you've been through it. You know what it's like to struggle a bit and to get to where you are. So you want to share the knowledge. But if it's just a simple, you know, no thought, no time, no effort put into the message, then, you know, it's probably going to go unseen. And I think also it might be wise to do a video message. You know what I'm saying? It's good to see, hey, what's going on? Take a picture of yourself, a video of yourself. Hey, what's up? I'm from so-and-so. This is what I'm doing. I'd love to talk with you more. You know what I'm saying? Think out of the box, I would probably say with that.
Awesome. Awesome. And I think we have time for one last question. And this is something I think is very important in today and what we're doing as far as COVID-19 and music itself, considering I released an artist during COVID-19 and everybody was like, bro, it's COVID-19. We can't tour, we can't do nothing. And I rolled out Lyrica and we had like 13, 14 million streams. But the reason why is because there's certain things that are in place. So this question is very important. What's the best thing for independent artists to invest in right now? I'm going to start off as a moderator. Digital marketing. If you're trying to put your project and your music out, digital marketing, outside of making sure that your product is ready for consumption. And then now, off to my panelists.
I got one. So I think they should, first of all, before the digital marketing, invest in the music first.
Ooh.
Okay.
Woo.
Because what happens is,
baby, it hurt me.
I mean,
I say that all the time. It starts with the music.
It starts with the music, man. Like if you invest in the music, a lot of the marketing, the record might take off because it might be a great record. Go get, with Black Elvis, go get with myself or anybody else who actually knows what they're doing. Songwriters like Gia. Then, you meet with Roots Queen and let her see how she feels about it because she's the DJ. She got to play it. Then the digital marketing, you spend you do a lot of stuff with the digital marketing, but it might not be the right product. So that's just my take on it. It all starts with the music.
Just to piggyback off of what he said, as far as the music, get it mixed, please. Go get a mix. Yeah. Get your songs mixed.
Great.
Right.
Yeah, Hanky, that's why I went back for the digital marketing, because as a DJ, that's like the next logical step. So that was a way that I could figure out how I could help artists, because people kept asking me for it. And I was like, you know what, I got to know how to do this all the way. So definitely digital marketing.
Right.
All right. Well, it looks like we've come to the end. We have 1 minute and 30 seconds. I want to thank all our panelists for joining. This has been a great fireside chat, town hall meeting on the music industry as far as the A&R and producer side of the game. I appreciate everybody for joining. Thank you, Arlinda, for having us. And I'm sure you can find all of our panelists on their social media sites. And I'm sure we'll have a place where we can post all of that for our people who are involved in the conference. Thank you again. I appreciate your involvement. God bless, and definitely have a wonderful day. And thank you to our people who are involved, and hopefully the information that's been disseminated is something that will help you in your careers as you move forward in the music industry. Thank you again, and have a blessed day.
We done? We out? We gone?
I guess so. Yep.
All right.
All right,
y'all.
Go to the moon.
Bless everybody.
Hey, all right, bye. Hey, Hanky, Elvis, hit me, man. We got
yeah, definitely, for sure.
Yeah. And Hanky, hit me up. Definitely, everybody, appreciate it. Craig too. I'll be up in Charlotte soon.
Hey,
Okay.
All right, guys. Hey, Gia. It was so nice to see everybody.
Hey, girl. So nice to see you, too.
What up, Elvis?
What up?
Hey, Kelby.
Hey, Elvis. Those are some of my most favorite. Fergie was one of my favorites.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, I'll talk to you.
What's up with everybody?
All right, bye.
What's up? What's up?
I hope you guys enjoyed that. A&R Producers Panel was incredible. Mute the Zoom. But Hank, I love how they were all talking about the difference